So it's the first day that I have the Tacoma. This is the first thing that we will do is the remote starting keyless entry. So I'm gonna go ahead and start taking it apart, show you what's involved. I already have the unit all prepped. These are about just the basic tools that you'll need. Obviously a cutter, stripper, blade, pick tool, test light, and a flush cutter. Electrical tape, always use 3M, panel popper, 10 mil, and a normal Phillips. So let's get to it. You have to pop this door sill, which is already right there. It's just held by clips. For this part, this footwell piece right here just pops off. So you can see it's just held by clips. And you'd have to access a little plastic knob deal counterclockwise to take it off, because that's what it holds right here. So just put that aside for now. Then pop this cover to access the 10 millimeter behind us. That kick panel is only held by clips right here. Like I said, you already took off one of the fasteners right here, so just pull it towards the back and this whole thing would pop off. There will be a 10 millimeter right here, and then this little cover just pop off. There's a little notch right here, just pop that off, pull the 10 millimeter, and then we're going to go ahead and pull the dash towards the back. As mentioned before, everything will be held by clips. All you see is all that pink stuff, so just pull it towards the back and the whole thing would pop off. Start releasing the plugs that holds it in place, and also the hood lever right here. Just push this tab down and then pull it towards the front and it'll release. Once the bottom dash cover is removed, you're going to remove a few more 10 mils. One here, one right here on top, and then one right here. The quickest way to troubleshoot the in-op horn in these 2011 Tacomas, the green red right here is the horn negative signal. So all you do is touch it with a test light that's grounded. So that's when you know the horn is still working, but there's no signal somewhere in the clock spring to transmit the signal. So we're gonna go ahead and take off the airbag and inspect it from the inside. Another way to test it is by unplugging the plug right here, and the green red, which is this top one right here, insert a little wire to that, touch it with ground. So that means there's a situation going on with the clock spring here that's not transmitting the ground signal from the actual trigger, from the inside or behind the airbag itself. So yeah, the clock spring, I would assume, is pretty bad. I just completed the remote start. So obviously ground here. The unit is mounted up there. Everything is routed. So as you can see, it's hard to tell that there's even a remote start that was installed, with the exception of this, which is the ignition harness stuff. This one's the parking light. The brake wire is here. And you're going to need wires for the OBD2 for the immobilizer and the tach signal. And you're going to need 2 wires right here for the door locks. And that's pretty much it. We're moving on to diagnosing the blower motor or the fan speed not working on 1, 2, 3. Yeah, the low, the middle, and the before the high, but the high does work. So it's showing from the common issue, as you can see, the second one to the left Shows a little bit burnt up, so we're going to replace the plug and see if that fixes the issue. I just got the blower resistor and the plug replaced. I still need to cut the zip ties, but I wanted to show what it looks like. So far everything is working, so that's good to go. So we're moving on after the blower motor issue. We're moving on to the horn issue. So before you even do any of these, go ahead and take off or unhook the negative battery. And you're going to be taking off T30 security bits right here on both sides. And go ahead and pop the airbag off. And then we're going to go ahead and move on to the next step. Yeah, I don't think it's supposed to be wiggling like that. So good thing we're going to be replacing it. Go ahead and start unhooking everything. Unhook this and the other cables. And we should be moving on to the next step. So, been kind of working on the Tacoma. Today I'm gonna end up removing the headlights to install the Alpha Rex Pro Series. I'm also going to replace these bumpers since they weren't hooked up properly. So far what I did was obviously the keyless entry remote start. Excuse the mess, but I went ahead and replaced the clock spring so the horn works. I replaced the bulbs for the climate control and the DAC button. I already also replaced the blower motor resistor, plugged in the new pigtail, so I pretty much cut it, soldered it, and things like that. So the blower motor is now working at all the fan speeds, so that's good to go. I'm also going to troubleshoot the cigarette plugs, which customer states that it wasn't working. So far the fixing and troubleshooting are kind of adding up, so I haven't been able to pretty much record all of it, but it is what it is, and I'm just trying to get the vehicle running the way it should be and functioning properly. Turn signal not working, it's burnt out. Now this one's the opposite way. And that's weird. I'm in the process of taking off the headlight and seem to have an issue trying to take it off due to the bar deal. So I'm gonna have to try to figure out how to move it without either taking this off or moving it, or taking this bar off and moving it. So I'm gonna go ahead and kind of fiddle with it for a little bit and see what I can come up with. Pretty much got both of the headlights removed. Also removed the lights that's not working anyway on the bumper light. This is how they had it tapped into, which doesn't really seal it. I'm going to be cleaning the plugs as well before installing the new headlights. So you can see it doesn't even really hold, but overall it wasn't too bad. I just had to wiggle it a little bit to get it out. So now we're just waiting on the Alpha Rex kit and the lights for the bumper, and then we'll proceed after that once it arrives. So in the previous video you've seen that I took off the headlights and the bumper light. While we're waiting on that, we're going to go ahead and start taking off the door panels and pretty much get the doors ready for the new speakers. Also going to be removing the radio since it's getting a new Sony CarPlay. That's going to be coming from crutchfield.com. The headlights will be coming from Alpha Rex. So hopefully they get here soon. But for now, we're going to go ahead and start taking the door panels off and then keep on moving. Got the driver's side door panel off. Pretty much going to be the same as the passenger side. This one did have a push lock that is damaged or old, but there's only two screws, Phillips head. Notice down right here. Pop that little cover. Pop that little cover right here. it'll expose the 10, excuse me, the Phillips head screw. You're going to be taking off that little triangle piece that's only held by clips, so just pull it out. And as soon as you get all those Phillips head removed, you're just going to pull the door panel the opposite way, and pretty much the clips will give. Pretty much all 4 speakers are removed and prepped for when the Crutchfield order arrives. The bottom one is a 6x9, but you can also choose a 6.5 component set since you have the tweeter up top. The back ones are 6.5 as well, and it's going to come with an adapter. But overall, let's go ahead and take off the radio, and then we'll just keep on moving. Radio is almost pretty much ready. It was only held by 4 bolts, and then it just pulls out. This one didn't have the JBL, so it's a little bit easier to work with. Nothing too fancy, but overall everything is pretty much moving like it should, so everything is good. So while I'm waiting for the parts, I ended up troubleshooting the sockets that weren't working. So obviously you see already the lights, both of them, and what it was the plug in the back were loose, so that would explain why it would charge here and there, or a slow charge. I believe the ground was not making like a tight connection at the back, so that would kind of cause an issue at times of charging, just like how you have it in the battery. That's why you have to have it tight. So I went ahead and depinned it, tightened it back up, and put it back in, and obviously they're working just fine. So that's off the list. And then, like I said, we're still waiting on the speakers and the radio. Once that's in, we'll slap everything in and check it all out. We're here at UPS picking up the package for the audio part of the install in the Tacoma, so let's go do that. Alright, after picking up the order from Crutchfield, thank you for Crutchfield for basically shipping these as soon as possible, since it's kind of in an urgent situation. But ended up choosing the Sony dash kit right here, the speaker adapters, obviously the speaker components and the standard backs, the speaker harnesses, and a tweeter adapter. So pretty much I'm getting everything set up, and just kind of wanted to make sure nothing's cracked or damaged. So after you receive it, always double check. Once you get the radio and the interface taken out of the box, this is what it would look like. Everything else is pretty much color coded, plug and play deal. Now, I don't recommend this for everybody. This is usually have to be hooked up on the parking brake for safety purposes, but there's other ways to bypass it, and that's pretty much on your own risk if you do it that way. So like I said, everything else is pretty much color coded. Make sure you set the dip switch to the required for the Sony and for the vehicle. I already got that done, so let's go ahead and solder everything up. Here's what the harness looks like. Like I said, you have to look at the instructions on how to set the dip switches for the specific vehicle and specific radio you chose. Mine is already set for Sony. Here's the steering wheel control adapter that plugs into the back. So let's go ahead and open the radio and get that thing set up. So we're getting ready to install the radio. I already got the Bluetooth mic ran. It's going to be mounted right here, just like this. I already got the USB mounted or ran right here. It's going to be where the little pocket is right here, so it's easier to access. The steering wheel control is already plugged in from the back. The auxiliary we're not going to be using since the radio doesn't have an input for it. So pretty much everything is just slide in, test everything before you put back the panels, and make sure you do not forget this, or else it will throw an airbag code, since that is for the airbags. Getting to the dash kit, this is what it's going to look like. You do have to transfer the hazard and the airbag light setup deal. It's going to come with a new housing, so all you got to do is pretty much pop it in. 4 screws right here, and that should be all what you need to do for this part. Also, you're going to need to pull the clips from the old one and transfer it over. For this one, the tweeter mount is kind of a universal deal. Obviously, there's no hole in here before. You're gonna have to cut a hole specifically fitting the Rockfords. I did have to Dremel it because I want it to be like a tight hold in there. So a little bit of this and should fit just tight. I'm still going to add glue to this, but you can see it's pretty tight in there. I'm just gonna do like an ABS plastic glue in the back just for extra precaution. So, but anyway, pretty much mounted, good to go. The front speakers are done, rear speakers are also done. So just to kind of show you what it looks like, take that a little off real quick. Tweeters mounted on top, 6.5 in the back, on the front, and coaxials on the back. All the door speakers are done, so just kind of testing out the steering wheel control. It's on the radio. I like your steez, your style, your holding me in the way you come through and holler and swoop me in. That's gangsta. And I got special ways to thank. Don't you feel me? Does Mercedes make a hurt? Back up and leave them, but you and Dirty got time. So we got in the Smitty built winch in, so I'm just kind of test fitting it just to see if I can get it from the top without having to remove the bottom splash shield. I know it needs to be flipped over. I'm hoping I can just kind of squeeze it in the middle right here. Maybe just move this a little bit, but if not, I can remove the bottom, no problem, just to kind of remove the splash shield and go from the bottom pretty much. So first step you have to do is put the locking nuts designed for this. Put tape on both sides, that way it doesn't come off when you're trying to slide it in there. I did have to remove quite a bit of little knickknacks just to hopefully try to fit it there. So we're gonna go ahead and slide it from the top and then see how it fits. So I got the winch pretty much slid in there, so I'm gonna have to obviously tilt it and then start mounting it, and I'm probably gonna need help on this one, that way I can tilt it, hold it, and somebody insert the bolt from the bottom. So I ended up running into a little bit of issue. Notice that bar right here, it's hitting this directly, so I wasn't able to mount it the way it should. So it looks like this thing needs to be moved to the right, or to the left, sorry. So I'm gonna go ahead and read the instructions and see how to do that. So I've pretty much got the winch all installed. This was kind of a pain, you know what. The only thing I don't like is the guide. I'm gonna have to tell the customer to get like the one that has the 4 rollers on top, so this one will get pushed in or pushed up a little bit more. I don't like it that it's so close to metal, so it's gonna cut the cable if that's the case. This whole assembly needs to go a little bit higher, that way it'll kind of guide it somewhere in the middle. So we already installed the bumper lights, so it looks pretty good in there. I'm just gonna go ahead and wire that to parking light. All this held is 2 screws, so it's pretty quick. So now I'm gonna have to clean all this up and run the harness that it came with. And like I said, we're just gonna do it on the parking light and pretty much be done. So as we move along doing the headlights and the winch, I went ahead and ran all the wires to the battery side. I went ahead and kind of tucked everything in right here. As you can see, that way it doesn't touch anything that's hot. And they're all running along with the hood latch cable and coming out from here, and they're all going to get zip tied as well. I went ahead and ran the wire to the fuse box. I went ahead and tapped it in here, power right here, and then the ground will be right here. Just to show what I did, obviously the module's mounted right here along with the fuse, grounded. Got the power right here and the fuse pretty much right here. So I just put a little zip tie in it just to kind of help it be secured, but once you put the cover on, you'll never even really see any of this. Let's see if I can get it on with one hand. Yeah, that's pretty much it. As we wait for more parts, we're going to replace the license plate bulb assembly and also install a LED for the reverse light only. So let's go ahead and take it apart. This one looks pretty easy as it only does 2 Phillips. And this one, I believe it's only 3 10mm and then it pops off. So let's get to that. So I'm just kind of finishing up on the Solis spotlights, and I also got the LED light bar pretty much ready here since we're waiting on the bracket. Just to kind of show you where I routed everything, zip tied it along there, and they met up here, and obviously met up along with the winch power wire and the ground. So that's running behind the horns, and it's going through the little pocket right here. So you'll see a little bit right here, and make sure you zip tie it, that way it doesn't touch the radiator and it melt. So far I'm kind of trying to just think about how to even hide all these wires underneath, since there's so many populated wires pretty much here now. So but overall we got the winch installed. This one I still need to run. This one right here is for the LED light bar, and this one's going to be for the spotlights, so that both of them are going inside pretty much. So I'll keep you guys updated and see how to even pretty much hide all these. So I'm working on trying to see how to power these lights, but obviously I got them installed. I went ahead and tapped the signal wires to the positive over here. That way the winch is going to go directly to the positive. What I'm trying to do is kind of just lessen the terminals that's going to be in the post and try to kind of even them out a little bit. But here's the fuse for the LED light bar. Got it zip tied there, and I already got pretty much everything ready right here. I'm still trying to figure out, just to make sure, I'm going to test it before I run the wire inside or for the switch. But so far we are kind of pretty close to getting this finished and test everything out. This is pretty much the only thing I have left is the little knickknacks now. So we're gonna keep on moving, and then obviously keep showing you what I'm doing and moving on forward. So here's the update so far. I'm gonna be zip tying this to the bracket at least, that way it doesn't flap around. I don't really want to cut it just because it's a pretty thick wire, so I'm just gonna zip tie it together, keep it the way like that. Already got all the power wire right here, the little fuse. This is the part that I hated. They designed it so there's so much freaking wires, and it's so bulky that it took me so long to try to figure out how to even mount it here. So this is about the only spot that I can think of, and this is pretty much the wires that need to go inside. So the whole unit itself is pretty quality made, except this part, but I'm assuming it's made, designed, and things like that for this particular situation, so I can't really just start cutting and things like that and modifying it. So I just did my best to try to mount it the best way I can. Like I said, I'm still going to zip tie it like right here, just to kind of keep it away. But yeah, so far that's where we are, and then I guess we're going to go ahead and test it real quick just to make sure everything is turning on and off. So quick update. Got the winch in, spent like 3 hours fighting, trying to fit it from the underneath, from the top, vice versa. On the picture, I don't know if you remember, this was here, and obviously if you can't fit your finger here and this thing sits a little bit lower, that it wouldn't work here. Yeah, after about 2 hours or so trying, I ended up having to switch this over to here, so I had to replace the wire that they come with. Sadly, it doesn't have enough wire to go here. It only has another set of wires just for it to fit right there. For the engagement of this thing, there's no way you can get this once the grill is on. So the only option that I can think of is, I don't know if you see those 2 holes, is to have somebody plasma cut that middle. That way you can insert your hand from underneath and you can engage and disengage it from there. There's not really any other option after that. Once the grill is here, you can't fit your finger here because I tried it already. So It's just the way the angle is. So literally the only option is that, or go through that opening to the side, since nothing really holds it from there. So completely optional at that point, but so far finally got it in there. 3 hours or so. Pain in the ass, kind of heavy, but she is in there. So I went ahead and mounted the LED light bar. So looks pretty good in there. Got all the wires pretty much ran. Got the winch all installed. Got it plugged in. I'm gonna go ahead and zip tie that. So yeah, I'm gonna leave that last. But I already got all the wires ran. I went ahead and used the headlight signal to trigger the relays. That way, that's the only time the switches are going to be powered on. That way there's no accidental leaving it on, things like that. But here's the relays. It is a pain to like route all these wires, so I pretty much got it as best as I can. I ran the wire to this little grommet right here. I cleaned up all the grounds, cleaned up the mating surfaces on that. I also used that ground right here. That way it's not so overpopulated, since there's so many grounds in this thing. But so far we are getting close to finishing this whole install. I still need to put the grill on and go from there. I went ahead and put back the grill just to kind of see how everything looks. So far I do like it. Let me tuck this in real quick. So far it looks pretty mean. Got everything working. This do turn on whenever I change it to a parking light, so everything good with that one. So far everything pretty much fits perfect. The hitches, kind of have to worry about this one. I'm gonna message ARB and see what we can do with that part. Overall it took a little bit long than what I had expected, but along the way there's a little bit of customization going on, but overall it wasn't too bad. So yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and post all the list of all the parts that I've used for this one, and hopefully you guys do the same. Here's what the license plate bulb look like. So they are pretty nice and bright. So I'm gonna go ahead and turn on the reverse and show you what that looks like. So the reverse look like way different from the factory, so overall it looks pretty good, nice and bright. Alright, I took it to a dark location just to kind of show everything that we installed. Like I said before, I wired up the trigger for the relays to come on with the headlights. So as you can see, when I turn it, it turns on the ARB dimmer switch and the LED bar light switch. So like I said, look, it goes on and off with the headlights, so it only works with the headlights. Let's go check out the daytime running light. Check out the reverse light. Woo, it's pretty bright. Let's go check the parking light. Switches over. Turn signals. Kind of hard to see that white in there, but this is flashing white, as you can see right there. And headlight. Let's check out the high beams. High beam. Now for the best part, the spotlights. Let me go turn off high beam real quick. We're gonna go the LED bar light first. LED bar light on. Then we'll do the ARB spotlights. dimmest. Number 2 setting. 3, 4, 5. The combination of did you see everything? As you remember, I did the radio as well, so that's what the lighting looked like once it's all lit and working. Overall, it took a little bit longer to do, but it's not too bad considering like what the amount of work that needs to be done. But overall, it's pretty much completed, and hopefully the customer is excited. Light bar, spotlights. DRL, parking light, low beam, high beam, back to low beam. Here's the LED light bar, and here's the spotlight. Number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I just wanted to show where I mounted the switches that's easily accessible for him. Obviously the LED spotlight bar, spotlight right there. I ran it beside the steering column. I may go ahead and take off that zip tie, that way it doesn't rub, but it's going to the side, zip tied to the body, and the excess I pretty much ran inside the kick panel cover. I did also run the wire right there, so I still need to cut all that zip ties, but it's practically done. So yeah, that's where I mounted it, so you can mount it wherever you desire as well. So quick demo of everything. Gonna go ahead and lock it. Remote start. I'm going to go ahead and turn on all the LED lights so you can see how everything works.